So basically, man, the Principle 21 system was built from me coming up with a plan that I could leave back behind for my children in the case, let's say basically I'm not here anymore. Because every parent, definitely every father know he gonna have some rules and some ways to operate for his child. And every man wants that for his child. But what if you're not here? How will your child get them lessons? So I thought to myself, how can I put down some lessons to make sure my children can get what my father gave me if I'm not here? So I came up with these lessons, and I came up with a whole bunch of lessons and i.e. principles. And when I came up with them, I went to my pastor and I was like, yo, I made this for my kids in case anything ever happened to me. And my pastor's like, yo, this thing is beautiful. This is so beautiful. I was like, thanks. She said, but I'm sorry. God ain't give you that for you. God gave you that for the children all over the world. And yeah, it is beautiful as a father you thought of your children, but what about all the other kids that don't have no father? And she was like, you got to do that for the community. And then I just felt something in my spirit, like I felt like I needed to do that. So the first thing I did, I created a book called Daddy's Motivation, and we went with that. And I tried to push it into schools, and the schools were saying they thought it was nice, but they wasn't really responding to me the way I wanted them to respond. And after a while, I just got tired of it. I was like, yo, I taught my kids, I'm not gonna worry about nothing else. But it rests on my spirit. I couldn't get no sleep at night. I'm telling you, every other month, it was like riding me. You gotta do that. That's on your purpose. That come from God. And then I'm just like, yo, I gotta do something. So then I noticed one thing about the book. Every time somebody opened the book, they say, yo, those principles, man, the principles are something else. And they kept saying that, and I was like, you know what? Yo, God want me to put them principles out there for families, for mothers, for fathers, for people that ain't never had nobody teach them no principle. And then I taught my daughter first. And then my daughter helped me memorize them. And I just kept going and going. And the next thing I know, other people start saying, yo, I want them principles. Yo, can I get a post of them principles? And I just knew I was on to something. And then God wouldn't let my spirit rest. Every time I'm working, I'm passing on principles, passing on principles. And man, we 2 years in now. We got principles in Africa. We got principles in South Carolina, North Carolina, California, Grenada, Jamaica. We just growing and we growing and we growing, man. And this right here, this is on my aunt block. My aunt was one of the first sponsors of the Principle 21 system. She was one of the first sponsors like 3 years ago. Now I'm in Brooklyn. We got the not-for-profit. We jumping it off at this address. You see this right here? This is the Standing Man. I actually created this. I'm a carpenter by trade. I created this called the Standing Man. He's an announcement man, right? He's 6'4". I'm 6'1". He's 6'4" tall, and he commands attention. So I mounted the Principle 21 system poster there. Let me tell you something. It's been nothing short of divine. I mean, even when I'm at work, the neighbors have told me people have stood there and read those principles. I've come out of my house many times, morning, noon, and night, and I randomly see people stop here and read those principles. Because see, the principles is applicable to life. They're based on biblical principles, but the Principle 21 system doesn't deal with religion. Yeah, we clearly mention God because everything's centered around God. But it's not our job to influence or even to tell you or even come close to trying to school your child on what God means to you and your family. That's up to you. We respect everybody's religion and culture, but the Principle 21 system doesn't deliver. We don't deal in religion. My relationship with God is a personal one. And I believe that I have to respect your relationship with God. And you and your children and your family's relationship with God has nothing to do with us. But principles have everything to do with us, because the principles that we help share to the children and the community and the mothers and fathers make a better world for me and my children and yours. And see, these 21 principles right here, man, they supersede age, they supersede ethnicity, they supersede faith and religion and dogma and all of the things that sometimes might build us up, in other ways separate us. The Principle 21 system is universal. It's not an overnight success. And most importantly, the Principle 21 system was developed by an imperfect parent for imperfect parent. None of us are perfect. In a school setting, so far, there's probably my second time most recently in the school setting. I had the opportunity to do a assembly with over 200 students in each group. And it was a fantastic experience. The Principal 21 system is very receptive to the children. The children, they identify with it immediately. I think one of the strengths about the Principal 21 system, it deals with a lot of I. Like I know that the best way to earn respect is to give respect. I know in order to have a good friend, I must be willing to be a good friend. It deals with a lot of I's. So usually when you use things in the I way, you're taking control of it. You're speaking for yourself. It's empowering when you speak in the I. Mm-hmm. And that's why affirmations work so well. And that's why the children respond to it so well. And it's just very relatable. It's relatable at every age group. And I think that that's why at this point, going on 3 years, I'm not even surprised at how receptive the children are to the principles.
And what direction do you feel this may lead in the near 5 years?
I think easily at the pace that we're on, we'll have 5-year projection. I think that we'll be at least at the stage where now we're sponsoring family events, and we'll be sponsoring family reunions. We'll be sponsoring because we feel like we're centered around family, and I firmly believe that at the core of keeping the family together is having them be able to celebrate um, events together, be it yearly traditions, i.e., family reunion or Christmas holiday get-togethers. But I think those get-togethers as a family is imperative to keeping the family close together. And I think that should not have to deal with whose house is in or who's funding it, because that can create a lot of confusion. But imagine if families knew that once a year they were able to have at least one get together with their family, right? That it was on somebody else's bill, excuse me, right?
Mhm.
So that's what I see 5 years from now. In the future, I see facilities that the Principal 21 system will own and manage, and then families can enter a lottery system where they can pick one day out of that year where they're going to have their family reunions, where everything's on us. So those one of the visions. That's one of my 5-year projections. Principal 21 system.
Out of all of the principles, which one is one of your favorite that somewhat sticks out?
Well, one of the one that sticks out for me, which is an absolutely great question, because one of the important questions that we actually pose to people when we talk to them about the Principle 21 system. One of the principles that really stands out and means the most to me is principle number 6, which is I'm not afraid to ask for help. And the reason why that principle means a lot to me is because I often feared asking for help. I always felt like sometimes the things that I want to ask people to help me with, I should already know. I was always hard on myself, and I think I think that comes from being raised by two great yet prideful to a fault sometimes parents, right? Both mom and dad are hardworking parents and had great parents, but they were very like kind of pull yourself up by your bootstraps. Like you don't have to ask nobody for nothing you could do on your own. Like you don't need to beg nobody for nothing. Go get it on your own. But I know they were doing the best they can, but even nowadays we have more access to people's biographies. How many great people do we have? We heard that actually ask somebody to give them a job, ask somebody to put them on, ask somebody, yo, can you tell your cousin at the bank to give me a loan? Like we found out that this world is actually built on asking for things, and is actually biblical too, because God made sure that all of us don't have the everything or nothing. That's why we need each other. No matter what level of life, we're always gonna need somebody for something. And I think that that's why God puts us in a position to humble ourselves. We all should be comfortable asking for help because nobody gets through without help. One of the reasons why I think people find it tough to ask for help is because society and a lot of propaganda pushes that there's so much information out here for everyone. Yeah, there's a lot of information, but there's actually a lot of overt amount of information, which is hard for you to find the truth, right? And because everybody's so opinionated, right? Oftentimes people just giving a lot of bad advice. People feel like, I don't need to ask advice. I'm just gonna pray about it. And people are stubborn, and sometimes people go behind people back and say, oh, they think they so much, but they had to ask me this or they had to ask me that. So I think there's a plethora of reasons why people are afraid to ask for help for, all different kinds of things. But I think what's more important is that a child discovers as early as possible that asking for help is a strength. The humility requires to ask for help is a strength that will serve your child for the rest of their lives. Trust me, there's somebody right now that may be listening to this. They're wondering why they got passed up for the promotion. Let me give you an idea why you may have gotten passed up for the promotion. Maybe, just maybe, somebody at that job, even before the posting was listed, they went and asked the manager, could you help me learn the new system? I know I'm not supposed to know, but I want to know everything about the job. You think on maybe sometime you could kind of teach me the new system? And just the fact that they asking for help will impress a manager to say, people that's intrigued about the job, that want to know about the job, are the ones that's going to do best as manager. And you wonder why you get passed up for that promotion. Sometimes it happens just that easy. The biggest obstacle to what we're trying to do
Right.
is arrogance. Um, the enormous arrogance that we face with parents these days. And one of the reasons, start just from the basis, like people say, you hear a lot of people say that the children today lack common sense. And I disagree. I think what's uncommon that adults instill good sense in kids. That's uncommon. So it's uncommon for them to get lessons from the neighbor, lessons from the corner store man, lessons sometimes from their teachers. See, that's uncommon. So how can they don't have common sense, I guess, in some ways, because we're failing them, right? Common sense ain't so common anymore, is it? See, what we don't realize is when we talk about how things were so different back then, the truth of the matter is our parents had way more help than we do. Now, see, some people, when I tell people that, go, oh, no, no, that's not true. But if you think about it, our parents had so many supplements. The neighbors were supplementing parenting when you weren't around. The nosy grandmother across the street on the porch was supplementing parenting when you weren't around. A teacher would literally come home to your house. They had the freedom to come home to your house and check up on the student without telling the administration. They don't have that supplement. The church is a supplement. There's a plethora of different supplements. The Brady Bunch was a supplement to your parent and teachers about respecting your sibling. Gilligan's Island was a supplement to teach you about navigating community and that we all have something to offer. I mean, Father Knows Best. I mean, it goes on and on. The Cosby Show, it never ends. Every sitcom taught us something about life. Think about Davy and Goliath. It taught us about the love for God and to make good moral decisions. Our children don't have that. They don't have it. They don't have it. So who's supplementing? Most of the time, we don't even know our neighbors.
It's a diverse community within itself. And with that being said, the common ground for just being like having humility. So the sake of humility, when crisis happened in different various parts of New York, across America, people come together when these things happen. But as far as like you were saying, community, someone's watching, it's not as neighborly.
Absolutely. It's not as neighborly. So, with that being said, there's a lot of children that are going to slip through the cracks. Because, see, back in the days, even if a mom, right, wasn't raised by a great mom, and now she found herself being a mom, a lot of the elders would supplement that care for her. But then now the neighbors are afraid. There's actual women that's afraid to even advise other women on their children, right? So we know the kind of world we live in now. So now more than ever, we need some guidance. We need some supplementary, right? Guidance for the children. And check this out. How do you pour from an empty cup? How can a woman and or a man give their child something that they never gotten themselves? See, everything in this world is worth studying, to learn, to be better, to get your driver's license, to graduate high school. Everything you want that mean anything is worth studying the blueprint and learning to get better. It's time for us to do something different about parenting now. It's time for us to have something universal that says we do have a standard. We do have a standard for living and congregating in the community, right? And if all of us can have one universal standard, just one universal standard that you could say, I'm holding the same standard he holding in the next household. Imagine what we could do with the community. Imagine the impact we can make in the community. So to answer your question and to wrap up the answer question, our biggest hurdle is getting parents, the arrogant of a parent that says, there is no book on how to raise kids, which is couldn't be farther from the truth. There's probably thousands of books on how to raise kids, but it's okay. No book gonna tell you it all. But see, the Principle 21 system are universal principles. They supersede anywhere on the globe. They're principles on life.
How could we get this information in case we want to get it to the masses?
Well, if you want to get to the Principle 21 system, first I'd advise you to go to www.theprinciple21system.com. That's www.theprinciple21system.com. Principle21system.com. Right? Go there. There's a downloadable poster there. You can get it there. You also could email me at irwinraybrown@gmail.com, and I will actually email you 11 and by 17 inch poster for you and your family. And listen, it's just one step at a time, man. The Principle 21 system is it's a movement, it's a ministry. We invite and we encourage people to join us. I'm looking for more ambassadors. Right now, I have approximately 39 ambassadors nationwide, including in Africa. We have 2 ambassadors in Africa, in Nigeria, and Botswana. We have an ambassador we have 2 ambassadors in Canada, and we have 2 ambassadors in Grenada, and we're growing out. So if you want to be ambassador to the Principle 21 system, you can also email me and join the movement, man. We are a movement to bring change and to bring structure and bring back principles to the community, right? Principle 21 system. Hope is here and change is near.
And for the new year, this is definitely a good template for things for the new year.
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, it can be really tough parenting, right? Sometimes it's easy to feel like the bad guy. It's easy for your children to make you feel like you're always picking on them. And the good thing about the Principle 21 system, it actually lends the parents an enormous amount of freedom. So you're going to find a lot of things in the Principle 21 system that you would teach your child anyway. But see, a good way to do it is tell your child, you see this man? I don't know this man that created these principles, but he is telling you the same thing I'm telling you, because that's what the world expects of you, to keep yourself clean, to move with respect, to lead with the respect that you expect.